Good morning, my good and most excellent hobbits. Today we've got another bit from Show Your Work. How is it a bit from Show Your Work when it's not me on a screen holding a book? Well, he has a section in Show Your Work about making a home for yourself on the internet, someplace that nobody can get rid of because does anyone have a site on GeoCities anymore? No. Does anyone have a Friendster page anymore? No. You do not want to have your home on the internet be something somebody can take away. Now, this does mean doing some website building, but these days with all the content management systems out there like Squarespace and stuff, it's really not that hard. So here we have the first thing, the logo. Where did Ivy's logo come from? Now, this is the most recent iteration of the logo. This is the logo I've got on the YouTube site. And since these are videos, I thought I'd start with the YouTube website logo. Obviously, I've got my name in the 1970s color scheme I've chosen for the entire video series because I grew up in the 70s and I like it. And I think it's very funny to have a 1970s color scheme when most people look at the 70s and go, yeah, that wasn't very fashionable. And jewel wing, obviously. But then way over here on the sides, you can see actually glittery wings. Now, these are not jewel wing wings, quite ironically. Jewel wing is not nearly as photogenic as this guy. This guy's a dragonfly. I didn't know that when I chose the name, and I decided to stick with jewel wing because, I mean, come on, it looks like jewels on wings. But where did this photo come from? Now, there is nothing wrong with using stock photography. People do amazing things with stock photography, and most stock photographers are phenomenal, so why not use their work if they're willing and able to sell it to you? However, I am a photographer, and that gives us a certain kind of vanity as photographer folks. So this is, in fact, from a photo I took. Way back in 2010, we took a trip to Glacier National Park in Montana. This is what ended up getting us to move to Montana. It's so amazing here. Here we are, camping. I believe this was actually in Idaho, but this is pretty typical of any of the dry camp spots that you find. And it was gorgeous. We fell in love with it here. This is a shot from Going to the Sun Road, which if you ever have a chance to come to Glacier National Park, you've got to drive up Going to the Sun Road. It is astonishingly beautiful, and I could show you 50 photos from here. However, this isn't a photo essay on going to Montana. But Going to the Sun Road, if you can get onto it and drive it, because you are here in the right time of year, it's pretty high, so you have to be here in full summer. Do it. It is, however, some of the most terrifying driving I have ever done in my life. There's a whole story behind how they blasted this road out of the side of a mountain, and I'll link to it in the description. It's amazing. It's amazing what they did back in the early part of the century and then drove on, and it's gorgeous. On that trip, I took this photo. Actually, on the way home, I believe somewhere in eastern Washington, we were camped near a lake, which I do not recommend. All the mosquitoes ever. But I woke up in the morning and I went down to the lake and I saw these huge dragonflies. So I waited till I got a good shot. I tend to shoot in really shallow depth of field, which is how you end up with this really outlined set of dragonfly wings. So this is the original photo. Well, this is the original processed photo because I was shooting in color. Hey, I'm a photographer. We edit everything. I loved this picture so much that when it came time to build the actual Ivy Tara Blair website, I decided to use it as the brand photograph, which you'll see in a minute, and as the actual static background for the website. I washed it out so that it became this, so that it's not this incredibly overt presence on the site or in the brand logo, but just kind of look like all this over here looks kind of just like abstract black and white swirly whirlies, but you can still see the glittering wings here on the side. So that became the basis for the logo, which you can still see the wings in here for jewel wing, even though it's not a jewel wing. And if you scroll down on the website, you can see that this is actually the background. So here it is. Here's the website. Here's my home on the range. On the landing page on the site, you will find one thing and one thing only, a link to Dream the Rogue Planet, which is the heart and soul project that I have been doing for several years now that we are finally putting out. We're up to episode 6. It's a sci-fi podcast. It is fully soundscaped. It's a radio drama. It's amazing. So here's the resident metaphysician's actual site. She is the writer and director, but I won't walk you through her site. That's for hers. So back over to my site, we have the next thing, audiobooks and music, which was the original landing page, was the audiobooks and music page. And it's got way too much stuff on it. Why? Because I've learned the hard way from watching my website stats that you do not want people to have to click links and get, and go from two different pages on your website, because they won't. They'll hit the back button and they'll go to a page they're more familiar with. However, this couldn't stay the landing page if I wanted everyone to really notice Dream the Rogue Planet. This is now its own page, and it has everything on it. So it's got my published audiobooks, each with a blurb and the color photo and audio sample. Then it's got the podcasts. It's only got the one podcast right now, Dream the Rogue Planet. I have several others that are just me, basically me rambling or me telling stories. I didn't want them on here anymore because I did not want to distract from Dream the Rogue Planet. It is so amazing. It's the only podcast I wanted on here. My music, which currently I have exactly 2 items of music up. We actually do a significant amount of music on the podcast, and all the pieces will be released eventually, and quite a few of them have me on vocal tracks. However, I've been a musician since I was 6. That's how I got into this doing things with my voice lark. So I wanted to have some music on the website, even if it's just the theme songs for the podcasts, actually, which are old folk songs. My Twitter, pretty active. It's pretty silly. It's full of art. It's full of other writers and audio artists. It is also full of stuff on long COVID, because my life, you guys, my life. And then free audiobooks. First up is The Dead by James Joyce, which Rez and I did together. Some soundscaping. It's Ivy circa, 7 years ago now, maybe? I like it. It's not my favorite thing I've done, but it's really, really good. Then we have a short story that the author, J. Fitzpatrick Malden, kindly allowed me to narrate and put up for free. And he said these very nice things about it, which made me very happy, so I put them on the website as well. And that is the massive audiobooks and music page. Next up is the blog, which actually, despite the fact that my whole website is hosted on WordPress, the worst website builder on the planet, because they were originally designed entirely to do blogs, their blog function is awful these days. So now not only do they not build websites well, they also do not have a blog function that I like. So the blog is actually hosted over on Blogspot, which is surprisingly very good. So this is how you end up with a tour of my website, because I spent about 12 hours this weekend revamping stuff and moving every single post since 2019 over to Blogspot. Everything from everywhere. Now, as you can see, I haven't been terribly active. 2 posts in 2019, 2 posts in 2020. Hey man, it's been a few sucky years, but I'm starting to write more. Because why? Austin Kleon does remind us that keeping an active blog is like keeping a journal of everything you do creatively. And that over time, it'll become your sketchbook, it'll become your networking. If nothing else, it'll just become your documentation of how you are as an artist, who you are as an artist, the constant reinvention of yourself as an artist. So, the blog. Then a link to my video page, which is very simple right now. Video page just has most recent videos. I've embedded all of my videos playlist right here, and a little blurb on how I got into video. If you're a photographer and an audio artist, getting into video seems kind of like the next step. And I am a crazy person, so I decided to do it. And then I've got a bit of my Instagram, which, as you can see, strangely, is mostly show your work and keep going, because I didn't really start to get into doing short form, just jump in front of your camera video until I started doing show your work. Dream the Rogue Planet, that's Rez's page. Photography, again, bounces you off of my site, because far, far easier to use something like SmugMug, which is well designed for photography hosting. Now, I, in another life, was a professional photographer. I have a shit ton of photos out there. They're all under a different pseudonym. Everything is pseudonyms. And I don't like to mix and match my pseudonyms, so I'll be building the Ivy Tower Blair photography site more and more. It won't take long, folks, because photographers take pictures of everything, and I live in absolutely beautiful Montana. Many, many photos. Right now, ironically, cats and dogs are the cutest things on the internet, so many, many, many pictures. This is my dog, Wesh, who you will see many, many pictures of. All right, back over to the main site. I have articles, only a few of them, because most of the time when I write something, it's blog length, but a few times I've written something that was longer, so ended up articleizing those, and my resume. Someone somewhere along the line, I believe Diane Duane, mentioned you really have to have a full resume somewhere on your website that someone who wants to hire you can just grab. And I was like, that's a really good point. You do not want to send some poor author or producer searching around your site for evidence you've done anything. Yes, I have my CV on the site. There we go. Also articles about things that I've wanted to say that were longer than blog posts, like Far More Than Reading Aloud, which is an article I still get a huge kick out of. So many people think that audiobook narration is basically just like reading to your kids in the evening, which is awesome, and that is, in fact, how I got into being an audiobook narrator. But it is so much more intricate and difficult than that. Basically, you have to be about 4 professionals in one and have about a master's degree level of education in each. No kidding. It takes many, many years to get good at this. Another article I had a ton of fun writing, Recording for Noise, but I'll let you go read it because there's no point in going over each article. This is not an article review video. And then also on here, I have an interview that some book review site asked me to do years and years ago, some audiobook review site. I said, oh, okay. And then a little about page, which I used to have this bio type information on the front page, along with everything else that was on the front page. And, trying to divide the website up into something comprehensible these days, since I have added everything. And then across the bottom of each page is a little carousel of all the covers of all the books I've done, plus getting all the way back around to it. Dream the Rogue Planet. Oh yeah. So that is the tour of Ivy's website and the whys and wherefores of the things I have chosen. I recommend very much that you come hang out at the blog and have conversations with me about Steal Like an Artist and Show Your Work and Keep Going and the videos and all of the other things I'm going to be writing about, like Dream the Rogue Planet, which is a very, very intricate exercise in audio engineering as well as acting. I hope you guys have enjoyed this. Everybody, take care of yourselves, wear your N95 masks, and be good to each other. Bye, Internet.